Well, I think even the ones that are making the headlines are going to have big human effects. So, there's a lot of people talking about the fisheries, so the shrimp farming that goes on in those areas. And one of the issues is you've got adult shrimp that are spawning right offshore. Their eggs and larvae are going to be in the water, so who knows what those dispersants are doing to those. But then they're supposed to sort of come back and grow up as juveniles in those shallow water areas. So we know they might be closing fishing grounds now because shrimp are generally bottom feeders. But then, what's that going to do to the recruitment? Is the next generation going to be there? Are we going to really see a very prolonged effect on those populations? So, shrimping, oysters, these are all organisms that are very sensitive to cues in the water. The larvae somehow know. They'll deal with chemical stimuli to make sure they settle right in the right place where the adults were, so that they have the right habitat to grow up in. And I don't think we know necessarily what these dispersants are going to do, what the oil is going to do to that process. So sort of having those populations return, I think, is one of the biggest concerns. And then there's some of the very charismatic species, the brown pelican, which was suffering for years and years and years, protected, and then really, came back. You're going to have a lot of organisms that are just going to really be hit hard by this, and the bird populations that use those areas for migration stops. They're working hard to try to open up wetland areas, some of the agricultural land, to try and divert the birds, but they return to the same spots. And it's crowded over here, it's open over there. Well, I think I'll go over there, even though there's oil, and they won't realize that it's bad for them until it's too late. So I think that beyond then things like sea turtles and other things that might mistake oil streams and tar balls for algae that they would feed on, these are all issues. People trampling the beaches because they're cleaning. Unfortunately, that's where you have turtle nests, where you have crabs, where you have all sorts of organisms that are building their habitats. One of the species I worked with, they're called ghost shrimp. They actually burrow beneath the sediment, and this is the time of year where they're spawning. And if there's a layer of oil, they cycle water through their burrows like a lot of different marine species. They're not going to last long, under those circumstances. So it's scary, I think, in that sense of what the effects might be